Thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. So, who is Shayna Boland?
Shayna Boland. I am a wife to start with. I have 2 stepchildren. I'm an aunt, which I've always felt very lucky. I am a friend. I am a police officer. I'm a highly motivated individual, very active. And I have a passion for volunteer and running. And yeah, if I was to sum it up, I think that's about it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Did you always know that you wanted to be a police officer?
So it's interesting because I never thought of myself in a career in law enforcement. When I was a young child, I knew that I wanted to be out in the community. I knew I could never be behind a desk. I always loved being with people. I wanted to help people. I originally went into social work in university, and I loved that aspect of helping people. It wasn't until after university that I started to kind of open my horizons, and that's when I started to look into law enforcement, and I discovered that I had the best of all worlds with law enforcement. I was able to meet people. I was out in the community. I was able to volunteer. I was able to use my platform for something good to make things better. And so I had all the best of all these worlds. And it was really after university that I kind of went and started to get into law enforcement.
So would your 20-something self be surprised to see where you are right now?
Oh my goodness.
What would she say?
I think she would say, "Who gave you a gun?" But yeah, my friends, when I told them what I would be doing and when I actually got hired by London, they laughed, but at the same time, they said that is something they could see me doing because I believe that I'm highly motivated, especially when I want to be. So, right. And I love what I do, and I love the people I work with. So I'm very lucky. I have an amazing section, and it wasn't always like that for me, but right now I feel very happy with my section. I have wonderful bosses who support me as a woman. And yeah, they don't hold you back based on anything.
I was going to ask you, like, what do you feel like the challenges are for a female in law enforcement, if any, for you?
I have been so lucky for the most part. In the beginning of my career, I did kind of have a situation where I butted heads with a supervisor. However, I also had people in my corner and other supervisors that helped to bring me up, and they never said that I couldn't do something, and they always encouraged me to go farther than even I thought I could go. So it was kind of cool. My supervisor has met with me, my current one, and has asked me kind of where they see me going. They've given me opportunities to be a relief media officer. So I've been given opportunities to do all these other things that I thought I would never do. So
that's great. So
it was really great. Yes.
And you're married?
I am married. Okay. Yeah, I have a wonderful husband.
Yeah. And how long have you been married?
So me and my husband, I'm horrible with dates, but okay. I know that we were married on August 19th, and so that was almost 3 years, coming up to 3 years, 2016. Okay. Yeah, and I met him at work, and he is amazing and so supportive and continually challenges me to go further and helping me believe in myself, which is it's amazing to have a partner that believes in you that much. Mm-hmm. So.
And has your family been supportive of you and your journey? And
yeah, I was a very sheltered child. So I grew up in London. I grew up in the East End, and my dad specifically always challenged me, and he never let me believe that just because I was a female or a woman that I couldn't do something. And sometimes it was tough love because I could be a very obnoxious child, but he always pushed me to be the best that I can be. And I think it was a big part of my dad that I kind of found myself where I am today in law enforcement. And my mom was always there to support me no matter what. Whenever I fell, she picked me up. And I had a great brother and sister that kind of showed me what I could be they were great role models for me, and still are today. My me and my brother always say, my sister is just one that continually is trying new things. I think she has about 3 jobs on the go right now, and she just always finds different things. And if she's not happy with where she's at, she'll find something else. And so that's really inspiring to me, to continually improve myself and know that I don't have a limit if I really put the work into it.
Mm-hmm.
So
things are limitless.
Yes,
yeah,
which
so,
I love.
So you would describe your childhood as being happy, or
yes, very happy, very happy. I am the youngest child, so I did have that mentality of, you know, oblivious, and the world revolved around me, and sometimes my parents had to kind of get me back into reality. But I had a very happy childhood, and I think that's due to the people that surrounding me. I had great teachers. I have great, amazing friends to this day that I've had from childhood, and even in my line of work today, some of my closest friends I've met on one section. So I'm on one section at London Police, 1A. And I've never felt so comfortable in my job than I do. When I first started, it was tough for me, finding myself and kind of developing into that person, you know, Shayna, and then a police officer, and making them come together, which sounds odd. But as a police officer, you kind of have to protect yourself from some of the things that you're seeing out there and that you're doing. And so it's really interesting how I've developed throughout the years and even become more mature, and I think understanding of the world around me, and specifically what people go through and the trials. And really, it shows me how lucky I am. A lot of times that I've had the opportunities that I've had, and that I've been pushed into the direction that I'm in today. So, yeah.
Okay, so what would you say some of the biggest struggles that you've maybe had to overcome as a woman or in your life to get to where you are now?
I think my own self-doubt. I think I always thought that maybe as a woman, or as the person that I am, I was fit into this category, and I couldn't do certain things. And it's such a crazy idea to think that some people, and I've run into it, believe that women can't be police officers because they're too emotional, or they're too nurturing. But in policing, you're so many different people. Sometimes you're a therapist to people. Sometimes you have to assess a situation, whether they need to go to the hospital, we need to call EMS. Sometimes you have to, charge them. Sometimes you have to sit down and help be a parent. So there's so many hats that I wear in my job, that it was really my own self-doubt that was my biggest challenge. And I was able to kind of overcome some of those obstacles, specifically with the people, my family, and my close friends. So I think that was my biggest challenge, is that I let society almost sometimes dictate where I was supposed to be in life. And
you realize I can do it all.
Yeah,
I can manage it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a stepmom?
Yes,
mom,
I am. Yes,
so
absolutely.
How does that affect work for you, or vice versa? Do you find that versus like the decisions that you make?
Yes. So first of all, I am a shift worker. I am a beat constable, I guess. I work on patrol, so I do work nights and I work days. And so I know that sometimes I'm not going to be able to be at home. Now, me and my husband, because we are on different shifts, we are able to, one of us is always usually able to balance, be at home. I think one of the things that is just finding time to always be with the kids, and that's a really important thing to me, is that we set aside family time. My family always had family time on Sundays. We still do. We come together as family, we eat dinner, and just make them know that I love them and that I'm here to support them, and to come to me with any kind of problem or decision that they have to make, and just being open, because I was lucky enough to have that as a child. So I think those are the challenges that I face. But
from what you see it through your job, because I know you see a lot, did you think it creates more fear as a parent, or do you think that you're able to?
So you do have to kind of push that aside, because it can create fear, because you don't see people on their best days. People don't call the police when they're having a great day. I wish they did, but they don't. They call us when they're in their most difficult times, and we see people when they're at their worst. And so it can create a fear inside a parent, because you see some of the things that not everybody sees out there, and it does create a fear in you. However, I feel that we can't helicopter parents, because we need them to grow. And I was lucky that my parents allowed me to grow and find out who I was. Now, obviously, they did give me a push when I needed it, and I think that was very important. But I do have to sometimes check myself, push it aside, and realize that, you know what, I can't control everything, and I can't always be there. So I have to teach them how to make those right decisions, so that they will go off and make those correct decisions for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, these are the fun questions.
Oh, yay!
All right. Well, I say that, but hold on.
Just a second.
Okay, well, let's start with this one. Okay. What makes you happy?
My family. I know it's such a cliche answer, but my family, Travis, my nephews, my stepkids, my parents. I just love when we're sunny days, we're all together, we're having fun. So my family is what makes me happy. I also love running. So running is my outlet.
Also
so
world-class
yes.
athlete. So
She's...
world-class runner. You ran for Western too, right?
I did.
Western,
yes.
And now competes worldwide.
She's making me look good. She's making me look good.
Don't mess with her. Okay. What makes you mad?
I think what makes me mad is just inconsiderate people, or people that are overly judgmental, because I know that I'm not perfect, and I know that everybody has their faults, and it just makes me upset when people are constantly looking on the bad side, or making people feel bad about themselves, because we're kind of all in this together, and we should be building each other up, especially woman on woman.
I'm gonna fist pump you.
Yeah, woman on woman. I hate that, and I think that we need to help to, boost up, especially those young girls that need it out there, instead of like pounding them down, and just being those role models for them, and showing them that they have potential and that they can do those things that they want to do.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Worst day of your life.
So the worst day of my life actually happened a few years back, and it had to do with my husband, Travis. And so he was at work, and he had a very tough call that came in. And because of the call that he was on, he had to make certain decisions and react in certain ways as he's been trained. And after the call was done, because it was going to a different agency to kind of look at all what had happened, he was kind of separated from everybody. And I, at one point, didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if he was okay. I didn't know what was going to happen to him. I didn't know what was going to happen to our future. And it was the first time that I felt completely helpless. And I remember just sitting on my my chair at home, or actually it was my steps at home. And I think I sat there for a couple hours, and I was just praying that he would be okay. And it was kind of cool when he was finally able to call me and let me know that everything was okay, and our family was good, and he was good, and his career was good, and he made the right decisions, and so did all of the other individuals that were on his team at that time. But it was a very scary time, and I remember feeling so helpless, because he's always beside me, and I couldn't at this point, because it was just protocol, and that's what they do. So, yeah.
Okay, let's go. Best day of your life.
Best day of my life, I think, again, cliche so far, was when I got to marry Travis. He's awesome. He's amazing. Love him. And I got to, an instant family, which was pretty cool. I've always wanted children. And I know that I'm not their biological mother. They do have a biological mother. That's great. But the fact that I get to be a part of that and be another, example, role model, guardian, whatever it is that you want to call it to them is awesome. And they're amazing. Wyatt is the oldest and Hayden is the youngest. And they're perfect. And just my wedding it was a small wedding, 52 people. Basically, my closest family and friends were there. And it was just such a happy time. And everybody there was happy for us.
Yeah,
and it's a nice to be around that atmosphere where everybody's supporting you, happy for you, and just wants the best for you. So I remember we took a second out of that day right after the marriage, right before we went to the reception, and we just sat in the car and we looked at each other and we were like, this is awesome. And it was just such a peaceful, happy moment. And I think that we'll both always remember that. Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could share some wisdom to your younger self, what would you tell her?
No matter what happens, keep pushing through. Do not give up. You have it in you, even though you're scared at times. You can do this, and you're tougher than you know. And I think that's the biggest one for me, is that I didn't realize that I am tougher. Like I am tough, and I can get through things on my own, and I don't need somebody to constantly be there to hold my hand. It's always nice to have somebody by your side and holding your hand, but that I can get through anything that is thrown my way if I just kind of hold true to myself and my ethics. And I grew up in a religious background, so if I hold true to all those teachings, and the faith that I have, so.
Well, I think you're totally amazing.
I love you.
Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.